What's up, guys? So I wanted to give a quick little idea. This is from, like McDonald's or, Chick-fil-A or something. The concept of um, when you sometimes order your meal, when going through the drive-through or something, they may tell you, hey, pull over and we'll bring your food out to you. And so that little segment of what, may consistently sometimes happen when you go through like McDonald's drive through or something, I think companies can capitalize off of that, guys, by offering that as a third way, a third or whatever fourth way to getting your food and offering it as a premium style service or like a upward pay service. So let me explain, guys. So, especially with the use of apps, guys, and people sort of planning ahead sometimes. Um, if you're driving, guys, imagine it's not like a full on delivery service where you're getting your food dropped off to your door. But like if you can plan ahead and like, hey, I'm driving up, pay an extra $3 and we'll walk your food out to you service. Um, and especially, guys, I'm talking about the restaurants or many companies and food services that do not have a drive through, guys. This is the connecting way to make shopping more convenient, guys, which we're already developing, guys. When you talk about curbside pickup and, and I thank God for this, thought here that I hope reaches more people. But, we need to speed up, I think, building this, and really researching this and implementing this in our apps and whatnot of a kind of a system of getting your food faster, and definitely through technology, connecting ways where customers can request to maybe even pay like $1 or $2 extra or $3 extra to, in a timely manner, have their product brought out to them, have their food brought out to them at the timing that they pull up to the store. Now, I think this concept comes from what Chipotle does too, where they try to have a drive-through, but it's based off of just the mobile app. So what it means is they don't have long lines in their drive-through, but they do have a drive-through for those that pay over the app and pay ahead over the app, So it's kind of like a mix between a easy access drive-through. But guys, this is kind of what Sonic Burger does in a way. But I'm talking about in Burger Master, guys, or if you know many drive-in, burger places or fast food places. But obviously, the big chain here in America is Sonic Drive-In, where and especially if you compare what they used to do in the past, is you drive up to a parking spot and they send out a what you could call like a barista, someone to service your car. And in Sonic's case, they did it on skates, where you pull up and someone comes out, takes your order, and brings your food, and you park and eat. Well, especially for those that don't want to necessarily park and eat, guys, and I'm wrapping up this video because this is just to introduce you to the concept, not necessarily explain every way of how this can be done and implemented. But, there is a community, though, that is in between parking and eating, and it's called the drive-through community, which you may have plans or you don't feel like just parking and eating. And, nevertheless, irregardless of if you just want to frankly look at it, the whole stigma of eating and driving in your car, well, it still happens, guys. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't really worry about that too much when trying to, maybe avoid the whole, maybe reducing how many people are eating and driving, especially for those that, may have just like they're picking up something for their kids or something in the back seat, or whoever's in the back seat, or family member or whatever, that they may not necessarily be eating and driving themselves at the time. But anyway, hopefully you understand that I don't think many businesses at all are really offering this in the form of a premium service. I think people like businesses like McDonald's are starting to infrastructure this or implement this style by oh, maybe the food is still being cooked or whatnot, and so they ask you to pull over in the drive-through and say, hey, can you pull over to spot 1 or 2? Now they do obviously have drive up where you can order from the app and pick up your food. But guys, I'm pretty sure these days, at least most of the restaurants that are big chains in big cities that I've been to, as far as I live in one of United States' biggest cities in some cases near Seattle, Washington. And even if you order over the app, guys, you still most likely have to get out of your car and go inside and get your food. Most of them, I mean, even with curbside pickup, guys, that is a little bit different because yeah, they do most likely bring it out, but it's still on the side of kind of like parking and waiting. What I'm trying to describe is a system that still is almost as fast as a drive-through process, guys. It's just that we especially for those that I think this would create more jobs, and more usefulness of employees at places like McDonald's or Chick-fil-A as well, because there's sometimes in businesses employees that are found just standing around or not doing something because there still isn't implementation in some of these businesses that what we would call maybe a sort of an easier to simple operation to manage. There still could be more job functions that they could be doing, and could be one of them, guys. Is instead of especially for the drive up, trying to and as technology allows, trying to make real time delivery an option, where you may hop on the app to order ahead, but maybe it can real time track, kind of like Lyft does. Is like hey, once you order a Lyft, usually you're putting on your clothes or something, and it's there in like 2 to 3 minutes, if not like faster, because there's so many Lyft options. And so this is what I'm saying to sort of share with businesses that are maybe not seeing this yet, is trying to speed up and offer a more moving but not stagnant as Sonic, but a more faster way to get your meals or coffee out to you by hiring more employees or adding more functions to the current employees and how they manage the McDonald's or whatever, to offer a service where they are bringing the food out to you that you order, and it's almost like a drive-through system because of the efficiency of how they bring the food out to you at before you order. And it does take that a little bit of planning ahead on the customer side, but I'm talking about bettering our response on the business side to the demand of timing from the customers. So, okay, thanks so much. See ya. Okay, guys, I had one other thing that I wanted to add to this previous recording, guys, is that, the concept of how, this should be changed, especially, guys, for, the 2026 year moving forward, and a lot of these businesses that have a drive-through. So this one example is everyone should be familiar with In-N-Out, in general. So one example is, so my family and I took a trip to In-N-Out, and this is where I was like, whoa, this is, this is crazy in an astonished type of way because of our experience at the grand opening of In-N-Out in my state. Now, In-N-Out, just a little background on In-N-Out. In-N-Out is a local to California-ish company burger joint. It's pretty popular for the locals in California here in the United States. But of course, the surrounding area and really those in the United States in general should have some kind of collective knowledge of the burger joint In-N-Out. That's how successful they are. And so I really enjoyed my meal there. Like in general, as every time I kind of go to In-N-Out, it's always pretty much a good experience. And so In-N-Out is a very high quality company, guys, and in the restaurant industry, guys. But this story really emphasizes kind of where this little infrastructure of coming out to the customer is so important. Is when I was there, guys, the line was just crazy, guys, to get this In-N-Out burger, guys. But you see, especially the day that I went there, it was, extra crazy, guys. But even, guys, for years going to In-N-Out when I lived in California, guys, the line is in general very long, guys. And I mean, just to think the easing of what this would do for, efficiency and time effectiveness when talking about trying to serve the customer where, they're getting in and out, so to speak, from your restaurant, Now, obviously, I don't know why the burger joint is called In-N-Out, when you realize, in these days, maybe in the early days, it wasn't so like that, but, population has grown, guys. And so, everyone knows that when you go to In-N-Out, it's much slower than, McDonald's, even though the speediness is sort of in the title of In-N-Out. And so, guys, I saw so many employees. There were so many employees trying to keep up with the demand of In-N-Out burger that day, guys. When I was there with my wife, Shadrika, and our kids, it was a great family experience. In general, everyone was like, the emotions were happy and high. Like, this is exciting. It was like almost like being at an amusement park level energy where everyone's like, yeah, let's go check out this place. And I was like that too, guys. And so it was just, I just thought of, kind of the concept that Sonic Burger has, is like, hey, you're parked and we have employees ready to meet the demand. But again, it seems like In-N-Out kind of does good in the marketing kind of outreach side when it comes to, the popular demand and the stigma behind In-N-Out burger, guys. So there's kind of a marketing thing that they're doing kind of different in regards to the volume of people and customers that go to these places. Now, I don't know about, In-N-Out as far as maybe their hometown, guys. Sonic Burger, as far as their hometown, Sonic Burger, again, is the company that they kind of are known for their workers coming out to your car in skates to service you. And so anyway, there's probably been so many styles of businesses, guys, and I don't know as far as what In-N-Out has tried to do in order to kind of help this problem that sometimes happens not only at In-N-Out, but just at different restaurants. But again, these days, it is sort of rare sometimes when you see, consistent lines at a, fast food joint. And guys, In-N-Out, Chick-fil-A, especially in California, guys, their success is like in the local area, like, the times where there's always a line to get to
you know, to get the food there, and I would say that's what I know of in this area. The two biggest, kind of mid-size, to big, large, burger joints is Chick-fil-A and In-N-Out, always having a long line, especially at certain times. And so, hopefully, I've explained, kind of the volume, but so In-N-Out, when I was there, guys, it was a field of cars parked, and In-N-Out did a good job at, preparing for the volume of demand that was on their grand opening day. But just because, and maybe it was a lack of people that they could hire, guys. But here's the deal, guys. Sometimes I'm noticing, especially a trend in the business world in 2025 and 2026, guys, especially with the advent of AI, more and more people are cutting employees because maybe they don't feel like they are really worth the money that they're paying out to them. But guys, sometimes people are actually not retaining employees or hiring enough employees to really make their company soar even higher, guys. And I think that concept, from my observations, guys, as I start to learn more and more about business, guys, and entrepreneurship, guys, that's not totally always the main thing I'm studying, guys. Again, this is a Christian channel, and on this channel, I tend to focus on different topics, but nevertheless, guys, if we had an implementation of more options where you can get a service where in real time, not as a option to wait on, but in real time you have and retain employees where one of their main functions is to have your order ready and bring it out to your car. Even though Sonic Burger doesn't do this exactly in the way that I'm trying to explain it, they're still kind of the closest to this concept. But I just think that that is kind of one of the next evolutions from curbside pickup. Trying to figure out especially if you're wanting to grow, where maybe a lot of these other company owners may be hesitant to realize how to grow their company even more, guys. Now, I do know that even at some McDonald's, they will hold a line too, guys. But, hopefully this is really helpful and insightful. Much more I can share, but, I do believe that God fills in the gaps for what we, may think that we always have to think of everything and say everything right and stuff. And so, Jesus did give us that when he said, your Father knows what you need before you ask him. And so, anyway, I would share more, but, hopefully this is, pretty clear on, maybe just charging some sort of fee, or, having integrated in the app an option to have a real-time connection at below 5 minute of order, in within 5 to 10 minute of ordering from your car, and no leave your car option, where you're trying to stay in motion and moving on and with your schedule and day, where you can have an employee come out to you. And In-N-Out, on the day of their grand opening here in Washington State, near Seattle, Washington, but it was actually in near closer to Oregon State, near Portland, Oregon. If excuse me, sorry about that, guys. If In-N-Out had hired I don't know what the base number is, but even 10 or 20 more employees, guys, where, their sole purpose, especially with the limited menu that, you know, sort of comes with concepts like In and Out or maybe even Chick-fil-A, but Chick-fil-A does have a kind of dynamic menu, guys. But there are some restaurants where they go for a simplistic kind of restaurant, even though their food is high quality. And so if In and Out on that day, especially with knowing the whole field of workers, and especially, guys, with the data that you could have or gather from employees, I mean, from customers these days, especially with the limited menu that In and Out has, guys, where, you can have 10 or 20 employees already through the app. If you just say, hey, download this app or scan this QR code, you can order and we'll bring it out to you. And even if there is sort of a line or a process from getting in and out of that line once you're in your car and stuff, at least they can have their reason why they came there is to get their food as they drive through the line, and they already paid for it already. And the process has been done maybe through the app, and you have a retainer of employees where one of their main jobs is to just bring the food out to the car or handle the whole side of taking the order and bringing the food out, guys. And so I just don't see that happening a lot. Now Walmart is a little bit different with their curbside pickup too, but again, it's more from the park and wait mentality, not necessarily the stay in motion, park or, wait for, 30 seconds or less and get your food. So thanks so much, guys. Talk to you next time.